Politics of the Channelings of the Citizens of Wisdom, now as Stairs, are like, written by Graham Darrell with Meteor and inspired by John Kurt Jackson Jr., composed with the help of and gratitude towards Hayton and the Phoenix Journals. This is a transmutation of the so-called protocols of the meetings of the Zionist Men of Wisdom. Part 1. Remember that people with noble instincts heavily outweigh those with base ones. Therefore the best results in governing are achieved through academic discussion and not through violence and intimidation. In the early stages of social life some flow with pleasant and observant source, afterwards, to the laws of balance, which is that same source's manifestation. I discern from this that according to the laws of nature, right lies within insight. Political freedom is an idea and a fact. One must know how to employ this fact. The fact of freedom can be realized when everyone knows how to make reasonable use of it. The liberation of capital, which is in the hands of the people, gives in all possible ways to the state, according to our will, and rises into the heavens. Politics have everything in common with morals. He or she whom honestly desires to rule must stand for honesty and integrity. The unpopular qualities, cunning and hypocrisy, become vices in politics. These qualities must not be attributes of any country, and we by all means should rid ourselves of them. Our right lies within insight. The word right is, in this instance, a common fact, self-evidently proven. This word means, but is not limited to only mean, the gift of what we desire to accomplish, in evidence, as equals. Was this present stability of all authority the people's power shall be entirely unassailable, because it shall be known as already flower so that no cunning will undermine it. The means justify the ends. In waking the people's actions we may turn our attention not so much to the necessary and useful as to the good and moral. Every person prepared from childhood to liberty may understand the words that are formed by political letters. Every literate may outline great and clear plans that allocate, in an orderly manner, government as a whole. Our motto is concession and integrity. Also, concession will allow freedom in politics. Peace will be the principle, integrity and honesty the rule of God's true government, conceding to the people. This good is the sole means of attaining the goal of no evil. For this reason we will not accept bribery, fraud, and treason since the means justify the ends. In politics we respect the property of others because in doing so we attain power and concede without hesitation to the people. We will lead a program of peace and integrity, not only for the sake of heaven, but also as a duty and for the sake of victory. On the restoration of natural and divine people we co-create recognition of equality, the heaven people. We have established this people on the qualification of heaven on earth, which is dependent upon us, and also requires spirit science, which is promoted by the people citizens. We always worked with the most sensitive chords of the human mind, namely, redistribution of wealth for health, and the satisfyingly selfless dispensation of truth. Part 2. It is optimal that order, whenever possible, would bring territorial advantages. This shall shift order to an economic basis and allow nations to co-create the strength of our unity. Such a situation shall put us at the mercy of our billion-eyed intergalactic federation, which shall be unhampered by any frontiers. Then the people's intergalactic rights shall give justice to our international rights. The assessors chosen by God from among the people in accordance with their servility shall be experienced in the art of government, and consequently they shall, with some difficulty, become imperative in our lives, in the hands of our scientists and wise counselors, specialists trained from early childhood for governing the world. The people are guided by the practice of impartial historical observation, therefore, we give them consideration. Now the time has come. Let us amuse ourselves, and live in the hope of now. Intelligent people shall give gently of their knowledge, and, verifying it logically, they shall put into practice all scientific information compiled by God's Federation for the purpose of educating their souls in the direction that they choose. Think that our assertions are with foundation. The failures of Darwinism, Marxism, and Nietzscheism were engineered by Antichrist thought. The demoralizing effects of those doctrines upon the minds of the people would be already obvious to us. There is one great source in the hands of all states, which arouses thought movements among the people. That is the press. and governments are able to profit by this power, and it is given into the people's hands, so given gifted from rivers of law and light. And many of the people value safety. Every safety on our part is worth 1,000 people before God. Part 3. Today I will tell you that the people's goal is close at hand. Only a small distance remains, and the cycle of the symbolic eagle, the symbol of the people, shall be complete. When the circle is completed, then all the world's countries shall be opened out of it as in strong talents. To inspire all lovers of service to utilize their concession, God has placed all the sources in teamwork with each other. God has given truth to all the parties. God has closed the arenas in different states, where revolts were occurring, and order and economic boost shall shortly appear everywhere. The people are free to abundance without labor, equally assured as we are by liberty and God's kingdom. God has freed us from misery. God has included in Constitution's rights, which for the people are fact and inexorable. All the rights of the people exist fully in reality and will now be realized in practice. It makes a huge difference to the people that the speakers receive the right to talk, and journalists the right to provide truth with reason in their writings, since the people have all to gain from the constitutions, including all the abundance heaven allows given, if asked for, from God's federation. God presents them in the honesty of help to the workers from this allowance. The liberty, which shall be benefited by the work of the people by right, has endorsed that the workers be well fed, healthy, and strong. God, concurrently, is concerned in the same, in the generation of the people. God's concession lies in the chronic nutrition and in the strengths of liberty, because, through this, the people rise above his concession and are able to find both strength and energy to work with it. The time has come for the people's universal ruler to be crowned. The same hands shall help us sweep away everything that would be an obstacle in our way. The people are now accustomed to thinking with our scientific advice. Consequently, God sees the imperativeness of upholding that which the people shall sustain by all means, when his kingdom is established, namely, the teaching in the schools of true science, the final science, the science of the construction of spirit, of social existence, which requires the unification of work, and, consequently, the togetherness of people into equality. It is optimal that all would know that equality exists, because of the similar nature of various kinds of work, that there is equal responsibility to abide by law. Occupation and work will be similarized so as to cause human healing by the similarities between education and work. The people, in our wisdom, achieving knowledge, and because of the concepts fostered by God, feel a kindness towards social equality, which we consider equal to everyone since we understand the importance of unification. This kindness shall be moved more generally by the economic reformation, which shall start financial transactions and all pleasureful life. Having reorganized and accentuated economic reformation by all possible overhand means, and with the help of creation, which is in all the people's hands, we shall awaken great crowds of workmen to the street, step by step, in all countries. These crowds shall gladly give love to those of whom they, in the complexity of their wisdom, have been supportive of since childhood, and to whose property they shall then be able to add gifts. Now God carries the people from one appointment to another, so that we shall pronounce him in favor of the liberty sovereign of our love, which we are preparing for the world. At present, it is a personal source, and vulnerable. Of course, we are told that this unification shall be achieved under God's rule. Thus, the people bless the just and acquire the just, more and more discerning that we may do what pleases God. Because of this, the people restore all stability and create order on every occasion. The word liberty brings all societies into resolution with all authority, be it that of God and nature. This is why, at the moment of God's enthronement, the people shall caress this word into our vocabulary.